Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to FF episode 2703, 2703.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's Mike Matthews. This is a podcast where we cover some interesting things, and then there are some stuff that you hear on the podcast. It might be a little rough, might have some interesting sound effects. We'll see. That's what we do here. I can't be too excited at the beginning of the podcast, too excited because I might just explode with happiness.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Because the podcast song makes me so happy there. And you can check out the very cool podcast picture
Mike's
from last time.
Daily
That's about as
Podcast.
close as I have ever gotten to the Golden Gate Bridge on the water. That was so fun and a dream come true. And I did that on Friday. And I got a cool picture. You can see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. I would love to do that again. It was great. You know what? I'm glad I don't have to do again this week, although I had to do it last week, and that is hand candy out to kids. Actually, I didn't have to do that because, well, no kids showed up to my house. I don't know. Was it because the porch lights were off? That's just a total bah humbug sort of way of enjoying Halloween.
Wow, Judge, wow.
I had good reason to, because Halloween candy prices were through the roof this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Spookflation took over. The price of candy and gum increased about 7.5% from a year ago.
Like scavenger hunt.
And as far as like 2 years ago, it's up 21%. Candy is up 21%.
It's pretty interesting.
Raw sugar has gone up 50%.
Ridiculous random hosts.
And cocoa prices are up 67%. Oh, man, that bums me out. I love Coco. Coco was such a good movie. And it's up more than a year ago, 67%.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture today will be of Coco. No, I don't have to. I'd have to get that cleared through Disney, and they would most certainly say no. Mike, you cannot have pictures of Coco. So I'm going to instead have something from, I think, another
The Newsbleed section.
from the fantastic trip I took. Or maybe from today. Well, you'll see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. But I'm leaning towards the bay. Rather, I was at the bay. Although we had some awesome clouds today. Oh, the late great Basil the Boxer, he would have loved looking at the clouds and barking at them. Because, well, we're getting a little rain. That's what's making our atmosphere look so cool. So nice, the atmosphere these days. But see that picture at MikesDailyPodcast.com because I pay for it. I put money into the podcast.
For your entertainment, the one, the only, Mike Matthews.
Cocoa prices were up. And apparently cocoa prices are the highest than they've been, the most expensive since the 70s.
News random.
Speaking of rain, heavy rains and rot-causing diseases in West Africa destroyed crops. That affected cocoa. That's 2/3 of the world's cocoa bean harvest is in West Africa. Spending on candy was about nearly 30% of the Halloween pie. It reached $3.6 billion. That's a 16% uptick from a year ago across all categories, including candies. Oh, you got to pay for costumes. Oh, you got to pay for decorations. My gosh. How many people had that gigantic werewolf in their front yard? On one street, I counted 2. And they did not look very cheap. They looked like some pricey front yard decorations, that's for sure. And then, of course, skeletons. Everybody's got to have skeletons. But apparently people were spending an average of $108 for Halloween. Total Halloween spending reached $12.2 billion.
Show the mic tip.
And Hershey, the chocolate giant, in their latest earnings reported 10% growth in North America's confectionery sales.
Matthews News.
But they slipped by 1% from the previous year. And that suggests people are dialing back ever so slightly on candies for their sweet tooth, which may be a good thing. This is, as I recall, the month where we observe diabetes and all the horrible things caused. I was looking into it today. And drugs can even cause, drug taking can cause diabetes. Definitely alcohol can cause diabetes. The late Lou Reed died of problems caused by diabetes.
MTV News. You hear it first.
And I was thinking about that because he wrote songs pertaining to heroin. And someone else who did, and very fascinating songs, classic tunes, some of the stuff Lou Reed did. As did Anthony Kiedis of Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's one particular song, you probably still hear it on the radio if you listen to alternative rock, The Other Side, which is a music video. I love the music video to that song. And I love the song, the bass line. The lyrics are dark and have to do with heroin. And I never realized that, he's talking about the Scarlet Starlet. That's heroin. That pertains to heroin. And him fighting it. And Flea had his own demons to deal with. Now he helps out kids. He's giving back to the community by helping kids and teaching them to be more creative and to be musical. It's only in not thinking so much about yourself and getting away from it, because it is, from what I read, really just heroin. You don't even want to mess with it. Wow. It's something, apparently it's always with you. It is a disease. And so that song, unfortunately, came from that world, but it is a song. Maybe it is a song that reminds us to be aware of that particular demon. But home prices, on a different note, home prices rose more than expected this year in the month of August. It was in August, home prices were 2.6% higher than a year prior. There is currently an unusual dynamic in the housing market, with both buyers and sellers pulling back as rates have risen. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton, the last place on earth.
What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week?
The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is at 7.79%. Prices may be steady as rates have risen, but the data was based on relatively few transactions.
What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week? What's the cliche of the week?
According to Rob Black, I produce his podcast, The Rob Black Show podcast. He talks about money, and he's on the radio on AM 1220 KDOW, and also on television in the Bay Area on Kron in the 9 o'clock hour, Monday through Thursday. So the other interesting thing he pointed out was that 62% of Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
And that is the main financial lifestyle, living paycheck to paycheck. That is not good. That is very stressful. That causes anxiety, which may explain the high anxiety rates we have in our country today. And especially in the past couple of weeks. The whole Israeli-Hamas war has just only added to it. X is now worth less than half of what Elon Musk paid to buy Twitter a year ago. A memo to employees said the company was valued at $19 billion. That is 55% less than the $44 billion Musk paid. So, and speaking of those front yard scary Halloween decorations, the 12-foot tall skeleton named Chely, which Home Depot was selling, it has been on sale since 2020. They've been selling it. The 12-foot skeleton owners group on Facebook has 268,000 members. And it costs $300. It is dominating, apparently, the suburban yard social media and local news. But it is gone. Maybe. I think they took it all down this weekend. People were, I gotta take down these Halloween decorations. I can't leave this up all the way through Christmas. Or maybe you can. It's up to you. What I see a lot of people do is they take down the skeletons, the witch that's crashed into the tree, the smushed witch, or the giant skelly or the werewolf or whatever. They take that down but leave the pumpkin stuff up. It's like, I'm not going to take it. Got to have a little bit of a fun holiday spirit going on until we get to the actual Christmas season. But outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, look who's here. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Wow, all this stuff is interesting. I'm glad Halloween's over, Mike Matthews. Yes. Even though you probably sold a lot of those snow globes that pertain to Halloween. Yeah, Mike Matthews, it has bats instead of snow. Ah, yes. You sold a lot of those? Oh, Mike Matthews. No, I have the turkey snow globes that I'm selling. And instead of snow, it has mashed potatoes floating around in the snow globe, Mike Matthews. Fantastic. That is clever. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman.
And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, we scared a lot of people coming by my house this year. Oh, yeah, I heard about it. You engineered like a werewolf and vampire and a Frankenstein's monster all dancing on your front lawn, right? Yeah, I did that for about 5 minutes, and then Universal came along and sued me. Uh-oh. You got a cease and desist. Yeah, I got a C and an S. The C and S, don't they make P's? I think you mean a C and a D. That doesn't sound right. I guess not. But you know what time it is? It is time now for Let's Go Back with Matthews.
Let's go back with Matthews.
The Micropedia Insantica.
Yes. Oh, side note, I have been watching an interesting show. Yes, I'm always watching British shows, or Australian, or Scottish, or Irish, or New Zealand, but I'm starting to think that maybe the only reason why I'm watching these is because that's all that they have on BritBox. You can go through pretty much all the good stuff in BritBox in about a month.
Baloney.
And then by the time you do that, Acorn, which you've canceled, Acorn will start having newer versions, newer episodes for some of the stuff you're addicted to there. Like the Brokenwood Mysteries. They do that in Australia. I love that show. The new one, Harry Wild, that, Dr. Oh, can't think of her at the moment. What was her name? So that show, Harry Wild, that one's good. I guess they're coming out with new episodes of that. But that's all on Acorn, and now I'm going to have to cancel BritBox because I think I'm scraping the bottom. But Payback is this one I'm watching, and this storyline. This sounds familiar as I'm about to describe this, but it is the story of a woman whose husband is murdered, stabbed to death by what appears to be a gang of hoodlums, and then she finds out that she's under suspicion by the local police department. Then she finds out that since her husband is an accountant, one of the clients he was an accountant for was a very high-profile mob leader who's got all kinds of nefarious things going on. And he was trying to buy a island in Scotland. Oh, and everybody in this show has Scottish accents. Yeah, I guess it was filmed in Edinburgh, Scotland. And so so she suddenly finds this mob boss wants to track down what her husband, who was murdered, what he was doing, because apparently he was doing stuff that the mob boss finds out later he shouldn't have been doing. And this woman the wife gets all caught in the crossfire. So it's crazy what's going on. And I think it's like 6 episodes. It is pretty good. Medicine Woman. What was that one? Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. That's right. With Jane Seymour. I wanted to say Jane Stapleton, but wasn't that the lady from All the Family? All right. Yeah. Jane Seymour. She's in this Harry Wild show where she's a detective. Oh, that's a good show too. Okay. Anyway, wanted to tell that to you. And also, this is going to be big news in the conservative radio world. This weekend, this week, Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, Ella Emhoff, has raised nearly $8 million for Gaza on her Instagram. This according to the New York Post. She's 24. Her father is First Gentleman Doug Emhoff, who is Jewish, affixed a fundraising drive supporting urgent relief for Gaza's children on her personal Instagram account. And it would be difficult for people not to want to support children. So that's probably why she's made so much money, and she's a pretty high-profile name. This article says it makes no mention of the scores of Israeli children murdered among the 1,400 innocent Israelis killed by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. So that is what's going to cause a lot of controversy. She put her promotion in front of 315,000 Instagram followers. So that's something going on this week, I predict. Or maybe not. We'll see. That seems to me like it's going to be a big story. So, back in the day, when I was doing the country radio thing, I was on a station called K-Hay, and I did a show called the Santa Fe Cafe. And we would do this program where there were sound effects. It sounded like we were broadcasting live from a restaurant. And I would have people call in. But before the show, my shift, that was about a 5-hour shift. I worked for 5 hours every night on the radio. For 3 of them, we did some various other things, like we'd play a brand new song and people would call in and vote on it. We'd do a thing called the Top 8 at 8, count down the 8 biggest songs of the day. So I was quite busy weeknights. For 11 years, I did this. And for a while, we turned the 9 p.m. to midnight part of my show into an interview show where guests would come in and it would be live talking to them. It wasn't pre-recorded. Nothing was taped. And we would talk to callers that would call in. It was that type of radio 20 years ago. You'd have a lot of people calling into radio stations. So what I would like to do for you at this point is play a little bit of those interesting times. And here's a little bit of Let's Go Back with Matthews on the Santa Fe Cafe 20 years ago. That song next, somehow catch him. We heard Austin by Blake Shelton. Also got to For a Little While by Tim McGraw. Did you know that Phil Vassar wrote that? Yes, he did. And Phil Vassar's new album is out. And the Dixie Chicks' new album will be out tomorrow. Check out the latest video from the Dixie Chicks on our website at khay.com. You can also see past videos on there and listen to Dave Bradley all this week from 2 to 7 for your chance to actually win the Dixie Chicks new CD home. Ooh, cool. You can win that tomorrow. Be listening to this radio station, 100.7 KHAY from 2 to 7 with Dave Bradley. KHAY and Hueneme High School Athletics invite you to a concert in the stadium featuring Freddie Fender, Tierra, and Ventura County's very own Ashley J. The concert is coming up this Saturday at 6:30 at Hueneme High School in Oxnard. Tickets range from $12 to $20, and proceeds benefit the athletic department. For more info or to purchase tickets, you can call 385-2669. And come out and support Viking Athletics with KHAY.
I really got it this time. Oh.
How would you like to be the office hero?
I'm serious.
100.7 KHAY wants to reward you for listening at work. Welcome to my, how do you say? Yes, show. We have Hal Ketchum right now and more stuff coming up. The Wayne Brady Show. Yes, Wayne Brady, great comedian, amazing talent with the improvisation. On Whose Line Is It Anyway? Anyway, he's got his new show, and this is the very last chance to get tickets for the show tomorrow at 12 noon. He'll be taping, and I got a family 4-pack for you if you want to go. Just give me a call at 650-KHAY. But it is for tomorrow, and you will need to pick up the tickets from the station tomorrow morning so that you can make it to the show at 12 noon down in... The people on the show, his guests will be Brian. Oh yeah, so I'm playing this off of a cassette. Well, I recorded this from cassette to digital a couple weeks ago, maybe even months ago. Well, apparently my cassette player thingy has died, so I got to get a new one. I have so many cassettes.
With the Early Morning Country Club.
Oh my gosh, Matt's got another phone call.
Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith.
I want to hear, Matt.
Hope you dance. Leanne Womack and Sons of the Desert. Hello, Madam Rutabaga.
Master, I hope you don't dance. You dance so badly.
Mm-hmm.
You dance like...
All right, I don't need that.
Master, you're still asking about the socks?
Yes, the socks. Do you wear socks even when they have holes in them, Madam Rutabaga?
Master, no. Women, we cannot wear holes in our socks. It is just not ladylike.
Okay.
We cannot do that. It's not nice. It's like Anna Nicole Smith talking about her camera.
I enjoy the camera. It has its good side and it has its bad sides.
Oh, that's nice. It's Reba McEntire.
Says he loves her.
0.7 KHAY with Sammy Kershaw. Hi, I'm Matt Michaels at the KHAY Santa Fe Cafe, and we got this door opening over here. Oh, it's our bouncer, everybody.
Hi, Matt. Hey, last time, as you remember, I was talking with Kristen, the dentist.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we ended up going out, and she works on my teeth.
Wow.
That's what we do. We don't go out. She just, what's that gas you give me, Kristen, baby, honey, doll?
What do I give you?
That gas that puts me out. What is that called?
Oh, it's called,
yeah, I really
gasoline.
What? I don't know. It's called gasoline. Is that what she said? Anyway, Matt, I think she's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see things are going well for you and your new honey, Jessica the dentist.
What?
It's Garth Brooks on KHAY.
He was born in Kansas City, raised in Arkansas, fell in love with an ex-Marine.
What an awesome Garth Brooks song. We heard Six Wire, Look at Me Now. I had that, Matt Michaels. Putting a rap on a Monday. Number one on the top 8 at 8 was My Town by Montgomery Gentry. Tonight in the KHAY 9 o'clock preview room, the new one from George Strait. She'll Leave You with a Smile. It passed with a unanimous 100.7% of the vote saying they liked it, of course. People love
love the George Strait. More on George Strait in just a minute. But tomorrow night in the 9 o'clock preview room, the latest from the Dixie Chicks, as the Dixie Chicks will be releasing their new album tomorrow. You'll have a chance to win the latest from Montgomery Gentry, featuring the song My Town, tomorrow night in the 9 o'clock preview room. And after that, at the Café Santa Fe Cafe, the Café Cafe question will be, what was the best thing about leaving home, in honor of the Dixie Chicks' new album called Home? And a big thanks to Raven Malling for that question. Thank you, Raven.
Next up, the KHAY studios.
Pat Michaels has left the building.
You call this a party? The beer is warm, the women are cold, and I'm hot under the collar.
I enjoy the camera. It has its good side and it has its bad sides.
When was the last time George Strait came to Southern California?
Well, I think it was during the Depression back in
10:58.
That was a commercial that I did. Back in 19... Dixie Chicks, yes. They had just come out with Home, or were just about to. And then all the stuff. The fit hit the shan. Do you remember that? Back in 2000, was it 2002, 2003? When Natalie Maines said that thing about George Bush, George W., where she was not happy that he was a Texan, and they are from Texas, and, well, because she said it on foreign soil, everything went crazy, and their publicist did not in any way try to explain what they said, try to refute it, try to mitigate, nothing. And they let it get worse and worse and worse. And they thought, no, there's no such thing as bad publicity. It's all good. Nope. And to this day, you do not hear, for the most part, Dixie Chicks on country radio. For a little while, I did an online radio station called Country Crossroads. And that was a lot of fun. I did that about almost 10 years ago. And that program director used to put a lot of Dixie Chicks in there. And I would say, yeah, because, I mean, they were getting played all the time from the late 90s and the early O's. They got a lot of airplay. People loved their songs. And then suddenly they were just ripped, taken from the format completely. Just like retcon. Nobody remembered them anymore. So it only goes to show what will happen. Anything can happen in this music world, this radio world. It's pretty bizarre. So one other bit of radio that I used to do eons ago was I worked at a station in Ventura County called, Y97. So this is a long time ago. This is over 30 years ago. So, 1989, I was working at a station called Y97 in Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara's Hot FM. And we were playing the top hits of the time.
97.5 KHGY, the latest from the Bangles and Eternal Flame. Well, this is Mike Matthews, and I'm out of here. I've been here since 7 o'clock. I want to go home, and I want to make myself a sandwich. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll make a sandwich. Alan Hill is up next, and he's continuing the all-night party. And here's Genesis tonight. I come down like a monkey. KHGY Y97, good evening. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews, the Y97 substitute DJ. And it's after midnight. I'm sitting in for Guy Gooden. Let's kick off the Nocturnal Express, shall we? Yeah, we're putting along here, chugging along. And if you got a request, give me a call, 965-9797. I'll put it on for you. And tell me what you're doing, okay? I want to know.
Con-can. Wow, I was shouting, wasn't I? You know, I mentioned Alan Hill a little earlier. You heard me say something about Alan Hill is coming up next. Alan saved my life one time on the radio. I was leaving UC Santa Barbara for the summer. Our school year had ended. I was living in the dorms. Well, they were kind of these apartment/dorms. They would put 4 students in an apartment room, a big apartment room unit. And you had to clean the place before you left, right? Everything had to be cleaned, stem to stern, because if you didn't, you'd lose your deposit. And one person was tasked with doing that, which was ridiculous because that's a big job. And that fell on me. And I'm cleaning and I'm using all these cleaning supplies and I'm stressed because I still had to study and cram for the last test and all this. And then I also knew I had to be on the radio at midnight. And I was, so stressed out and full of anxiety. And I got these hives, these bumps all over my body. It was horrible. It was so bad, in fact, and to this day I regret it. I had to drive to Y97 to do the overnight shift. And I had a house plant, and it fell on me as I was driving. And I couldn't see, and I had to put it somewhere, and I accidentally threw it out the window. I hope it landed on some dirt and grew and became a wonderful plant that lived forever and still lives forever somewhere there in Goleta and is living wonderfully. But I'm so sorry, Vern the Fern, for that. But I was suffering with all the bumps, and I get to work, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do this 6-hour shift, this overnight shift? And all of a sudden, Alan Hill walked in, and he goes, "What are you doing here?" And I said, I thought I was coming in. Okay, you stay. He's like, "You look like a burn victim." I'm like, I gotta go. I don't know what's happening to me. So I still had to drive another, hour or so to get home because I was living in Oxnard at the time. And that's, where my mom lived. So I was going home to stay with her for the summer. And I had this horrible rash. I went to sleep. And when I woke the next morning, all that was left of this rash was a little bit of something over my eye, my eyebrow. And that was it. I don't know what that was, if that was some kind of like rickets or some other like measles-related type disease or stress-induced or what. But that was weird. So a big thank you to Alan Hill. I ended up working with him at Cahey years later. And he worked in the post office. He always told me, I see so-and-so, that radio guy left the area because I'm forwarding his mail. And I see that he would keep tabs on everybody in the radio industry.
What in the world was that about?
Oh, my gosh.
The bottom of the chart.
Pretty good songs that never made it on the radio because people didn't think they were worth. But you know what? They come back up and people start playing them, and it's like, where'd that come from?
Downset Hike. Tomorrow afternoon, the Bus 96.7 is going to be at the Holiday Inn Breakers Lounge in Ventura. Join us. We're going to have lots of fun as Philadelphia Eagles take on New Orleans Saints.
That was the Bus 96.7, and that was 30 years ago in 1992, a little over 30 years ago. And we would play 60s, 70s, 80s. For a while, we were playing some 50s hits. That was a fun format.
Got the hair on me.
Yeah, this poke salad's pretty good. Yeah, I like that poke salad.
She's used to riding in a car and walking on a leash. Otherwise, she's playful, active, and friendly. A real sweet dog. Needs a good home.
Okay. And what number can they call there?
They can reach us at 646-6505 or 656-5031 between 9 and 5.
Okay. And if you adopt a pet from the Ventura County Humane Society, the Wharf in Ventura County is going to give you an 8-pound bag of Iams dog food or cat food just for mentioning the Bus 96.7.
There you go. You got some food for the dog.
There you go. And food for you, too.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Bark for me, Cole. Very good. Blow, baby, blow. It's U2 on the Bus 96.7. Bono and the gang. They put on a great concert recently. Saw them at Dodger Stadium. They played that song, and Bono, the lead singer, dressed up as a rhinestone cowboy holding a body-long mirror. It was an interesting sight. We're going to continue some summer music for you right after this. Keep it right here on the Bus 96.7.
Oh, that was that Dodger Stadium show. I'll never forget that, where they were promoting Achtung Baby. And Public Enemy opened the show for them.
Mike's Absolutely Useless Review.
The new Beatles song came out. And you can't listen to the song and not know, I mean, if they've told you, if you've heard the story about it already, that it came from a John Lennon song, like a demo tape he made while playing on the piano. Basically, from what it sounds like, it was one microphone, him singing into the mic with, of course, the sound of the piano being picked up by the microphone. And what they did was they went back and stripped the piano from the vocals. Well, I don't care how good technology is today, you're still going to lose something.
Mike ripped someone a new one.
From what I heard, too, it's from cassette. So there's just all this. It's not the best representation of John Lennon and his vocals. And I know we can't go back in time and re-record him. We have to make do with what we got. But still, that saddens me when I hear it. Like, we couldn't get a better quality. I know it's just the way it is, but not to quote Bruce Hornsby. But then it sounds okay because they add all these layers of harmonies. I don't know who's exactly harmonizing. I doubt it's Ringo Starr. And I doubt it's even Paul McCartney because, I mean, he still can sing and he's still amazing. He's Paul McCartney, but I don't think it's that pure vocal harmonization going on. That wall of sound I don't think is coming from those two. I don't know who's doing it. And I know Peter Jackson's got a whole documentary about it. And then the orchestra sounds great. All of that sounds great, but then you're basing it all on some lyrics, an unfinished song that John Lennon was doing, recording it on cassette, mixed with a piano sound, which they didn't want for some reason. So I don't know. It's, to me, I was saying, I was a little more impressed with the stuff Jeff Lynne did with Electric Light Orchestra. Back, I guess that was about 30 years ago, or 25 at least, where they took something else that John had sung into another tape and created a whole song around it. But then they added lyrics. That was pretty cool. Still, I mean, how does that compare to the classic stuff they did? You can't. That's all gold now. Over the years, it's survived. It's woven into our lives, into our culture. You can't compete with that. So, anyway, Café Anyway, that's my completely useless review about
More
that.
Than Oldies, the Bus, 96.7. More Than Oldies, the Bus, 96.7. Boz Skaggs there with a little help from Lisa Dahl-Bella from 1981. Yes, Miss Sun. Mike Matthews with you. Mr. Matthews to you. Thank you very much. We've got on the way, we've got Paul Simon, The Byrds, and Creedence Clearwater Revival. Traveling Wilburys on the way.
What a format! Traveling Wilburys with George Harrison. Wow, the late George Harrison. We played some cool songs on that station. And the only way I have to listen to it is off a cassette, which who knows how much longer that cassette's going to last. So
Liberty
I did
Nation,
record it
foam for
digitally,
all.
so I have it for all time or until the massive electric storm from the sun comes and wipes out all magnetic discs and digital storage everywhere. But until that time, I have this to listen to.
The Bus 96.7 asks you actually to open your heart and your home to a child who needs you to become a foster parent. It can be one of the most rewarding experiences you'll ever have. For more information, call us at The Bus, 1-800-339-9670 or 644-BUSS.
Oh, guess who, right? American Woman. Okay, so there we go. That was 30 years ago, a little over 30 years ago. And here we are in the present day. And if you would like to call in and comment about anything you heard on today's show, here would be the number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with more ways to reach me, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com.
Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!